Alrighty, folks. About to get this one started. You guys know the drill by now. Got to post this on our socials, and we will be good to go. Let's see. Yeah, I'm getting quick with it here. Got that done. Okay. Last little bit here, and I think we're good to go. In under a minute. Yes, sir. Alrighty, folks. Let's get this one started. What is going on, everybody? This is Justin Martinez, aka Jay the Sports Dude, and I want to say welcome to our live stream here as we're getting ready for the latest edition of Aggie Rewind, the series where I go back and rewatch New Mexico State's most recent games. In this case, the Aggies faced off against Seattle on Friday and Saturday this past weekend. We watched yesterday's game, which was game one, and now today we're here to watch game two. It was a 65-58 victory for New Mexico State, and this video is courtesy provided to us by Aggie Athletic Archive. They have all the full New Mexico State games on their YouTube channel, so make sure to check them out. That's what we're watching here, game two between the Aggies and the Redhawks. Without any further ado, folks, let's go ahead and get this one started. Let me make sure this is muted here. Let's get this going. Hopefully everything is sounding good. I'm using a different laptop than normal. I had to get everything set up. I'll get into that in a bit here, but it's been a bit of a difficult day with some technology problems, which I'll get into here. You see Aaron Nettles knocking down a three-point shot, picking up where he left off in game one. Best three-point shooter on the team for Seattle. Consistency really the struggle for him, as you would expect for somebody who leans on three-point shooting. But he's been feeling it as of late. Shout out to him. Kobe Williamson finding Nettles here on the perimeter. Jonathan Garcia says, "Go Aggies." Appreciate you for tuning in, Jonathan. That's a new name. I don't think I've seen you on the live stream, so I appreciate you for tuning in and chiming in. We got Seattle up 3 in this one. Nettles a little bit of a heat check after making that first one. That one is far right, though, and it's going to go to New Mexico State's way. Yeah, a bit of an interesting day so far. My laptop decided to stop working, so I had to send that in to Apple to get fixed. I set up an appointment to go take it out to El Paso because the only Apple place nearby is at the mall there in El Paso. So I had to do that. So I'm using a different laptop than normal. Hopefully everything still sounds good and everything. But yeah, that's what we're kind of having to work with here. I got the podcast I need to record after this and edit it, and I'm gonna have to do it on this computer. But we're still finding a way to bring you guys content. Nothing's gonna get pushed back. Still should be on schedule tomorrow to have the podcast. That's at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. You see Riley Griggs with the three-point shot. Straight Shooter podcast tomorrow, 5 p.m. I got to talk to Kyle McDonald of Whack Hoops Digest to help preview the Utah Valley series. So that's going to be good. And then also we'll have our Sun News Spotlight. That is a weekly series we do on lcsunnews.com where I pick a player on the team and just break down everything he brings to the table for the Aggies. Take a look at his film, kind of break down a few plays, stuff like that. So that'll be on lcsunnews.com tomorrow. It's going to be... I still haven't decided yet, to be honest, yet. If it's going to be on Clayton Henry or Donnie Tillman. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know who it's going to be on. I'm still deciding. I'm looking around for a coin here. If I had one, I would just flip one, honestly, to decide. I don't really have anything I can flip here, unfortunately. Let me see. Got this remote here. Alright, if it's heads, it'll be Clayton. If it's tails, it'll be Donnie. There you go. Clayton Henry, Sunday Spotlight for tomorrow. That's what you guys can stay tuned for. But anyways, Donnie Tillman with the basketball here. 3-0 in favor of Seattle. That is a bit of a careless pass there, leads to a turnover. Seattle basketball. Aggies looking to avoid the sweep in this one. The drop in game one the day before on Friday by a score of 83-72. This game actually started off at 9 p.m. So the normal tip-off time for every WAC basketball game is 7 p.m. Mountain Time. However, this one got pushed back due to inclement weather. They had a good amount of snow over there in Seattle, and so they actually issued a winter warning, winter storm warning. As you see, Junior getting it down low to Donnie. The defense there by Kobe Williamson. So yeah, this game started off at 9 p.m. By the time everything was over, by the time I uploaded the press conference, by the time I transcribed the quotes from Coach Jans afterwards, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. So a late night at the office for sure. But yeah, I'm definitely in favor of the 7 p.m. start time. We like that a lot more. Plus, we can get it in for print. Our deadline's 9:30, so we weren't able to get this game in for print. The S Squad says Aggie up. That is also a new name. Appreciate you for tuning in. You see Wilford Lakai passing up on the shot, getting it to Gilliard from deep. No good. And Clayton Henry, that's something we're going to see a lot from him in this game. Offensive rebounds, crashing the glass. And in this case, it does lead to a bucket by Wilford Lakai. Clayton Henry, one of the better rebounding guards in the WAC for sure. 6'4", but not afraid to get in there. For this one, he actually had a game-high 10 rebounds, and I believe 4 of them were on the offensive glass. You guys can tell me if I'm wrong. Let's see, Alex Sanchez, don't know if it's just me, the video was good. Audio sounds really cut up and scratchy. You guys let me know if you're also hearing that or if it's just on Alex's end. It might be. I was just talking about right now, this is a different laptop. My old one, or the one I normally use is messed up right now. It's not working. This is a different laptop. The S Squad says, Coach said you deserve a raise for the late night reporting. He was right. Yeah, that was pretty funny. I don't see that happening, unfortunately. I wish it could, but yeah, I don't see that happening. S Squad says audio is a little choppy. Oh boy, here we go. That's what I was worried about. Yeah, this is a new laptop that I'm using, or a different one, I should say. Let me see. So I can see here that the audio input is good. Let's take a look at this here. Bear with me here, folks. I'll get this, let's try to get this sorted out here. Let's see. Do we got anything on this end? Let's just go with the built-in mic. Alright, you guys tell me, does it sound a little bit better here? Because right now I have a camera attachment. But this is just the actual laptop mic. Let me know if this is sounding a little bit better here. This is what I was hoping to avoid. It's been a long day, man, having to make do with these different laptops. You guys say fixed? Perfect. Thank goodness. I'm not a tech pro by any means, so I don't know if I would have had any other solutions to that. Anyways, appreciate y'all for letting me know. Let me know if there's any more problems with it, because yeah, this is my first time using this laptop in this new setup. I'm hoping I'll be able to edit this podcast the way I normally do. All my sound effects were actually on the old computer, so I'm having to try to find them all over again. But yeah, it should just be for this week. Hopefully my laptop will get fixed. I'm supposed to drop it off on Saturday. Yeah, until then, we're kind of just having to wing it here. It's happening in the middle of the season, which sucks because, you know, every single day there's a bunch of stuff on the to-do list, but we'll make it work. Everything will still be released on time. The Sun U Spotlight, the podcast. But anyways, we got a little bit of a break here. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. As always, hopefully y'all are having a better day so far than me. 5-3 Seattle to see a look at Mecca Udenyi for Seattle. Jabari Rice from basketball here getting it down low to William McNair. He's getting earlier and earlier PT. Really starting to build that trust, although that's a bad miss down low. For the most part, though, he has been pretty solid these past few games for the Aggies. We got Darion Trammell coming the other way, fresh off of a game-high 22 points on Friday. Good clean contest by Kalen Williams. And Kalen Williams is really one of the unsung heroes in this game. You know, it doesn't pop out in the stat sheet. I think he only had like 5 points or something like that. But played some really good defense off the bench on Darion Trammell. So credit has to go towards him. You know, you think of guys like Evan Gilliard, Jabari Rice, when it comes to defensive players in the backcourt for New Mexico State. It's just see Wilfred Lakai with the bucket. But Kalen Williams with a really solid defensive performance. I believe he played about 16 minutes in this one. So, you know, Jan just said, just whoever can build the most or gain the most trust from him is going to get the most minutes off the bench. We'll see if Kalen can build off this. S Squad says, I have big hopes for Big Will, I should say. Yeah, you know, I've had big hopes from him too. Actually, one of my predictions at the beginning of the season was that he was going to take that next step. You know, we haven't seen as big of a jump as some of us were hoping for. You know, I think it still just comes down to, honestly, just the mindset. I say it all the time, but just being more aggressive down low. Even Jans has said that he's kind of like a teddy bear off the court, which doesn't always help on the court, you know. But he still has time. Redshirt sophomore, obviously he has the size already. We'll see if he can take that next step because, yeah, it would be big for New Mexico State if they could just get some depth at that 5 spot, especially because Johnny at the starting center spot, 6'7". You know, you need someone who has more size to come off the bench and give some valuable PT. Wilfred Lakai swinging it around to Kalen Williams. Bit of a desperate shot there as the shot clock expires. 5-5. Tie ball game with 14:06. I'm going to pull up the stat sheet here just so I can reference it in case we need to. Let's hit this here. There we go. Trammell with the basketball here. Kalen Williams defending. Williams only at 6'2", I believe, but a pretty decent length. You know, the wingspan is pretty decent for someone who's 6'2", able to contest the ball pretty well. You see him with basketball here. Trammell guarding him, getting it down low to Will. Gonna try to back down Williamson, kicking it out. The ball movement by the Aggies, and it leads to a 3-point shot by Jabari Rice. He entered this series saying he was at 70% strength. He was suffering a left heel injury in game 1 against Cal Baptist the weekend before this. But doesn't seem like he's really been affected by it too much. You know, he's not as explosive as you would expect with a heel injury, but he's still able to produce without a doubt, and New Mexico State obviously needs him too. Williams with the basketball here. Aggies up by 1 with 12:50 on the clock. It's funny how, like I said, it was a 9 o'clock start time, so already a few minutes into the game, we're already past our print deadline. So there's no chance of getting this one in the paper, unfortunately. Williamson with a rebound. Freshman from Melbourne, Australia, providing some good minutes and good PT for Seattle. Able to stretch the floor well. Nettles stretching for that pass, although he can't get it. It's going to be a rare turnover for the Seattle team. They take really good care of the basketball. I think second in the WAC in turnover margin. They're not a team that's going to beat themselves, and that's really important for them because they don't have the best offense. I was talking about this yesterday. You know, they're outside of, I think, the top 250 in the country in both 2-point percentage and 3-point percentage. What they do really well is just not wasting opportunities. Kind of just forcing the other team to beat them, you know. Seattle with the Seattle down by 1 here. Go for Lakai driving. No foul, clean contest. Refs letting them play there. They're going to call a jump ball. That squad saying, I know all us Aggie fans are freaking out a bit, and I think all the kinks that usually get worked out during conference play are getting worked out now. Yeah, I agree. It's definitely Aggies being towards the bottom of the conference is something that they're not used to, and so I could definitely see why people would be freaking out by it. But at the end of the day, they have had a lot of setbacks. You hate to kind of lean on that as an excuse, but it is justified. You can understand why they are coming out to a slow start because they haven't really had a chance to build that rhythm. They do have a lot of new players in the mix. They haven't gotten a chance to build that on-court chemistry with each other. They still got some time, though, not a whole lot, but they do still have some time. They got 6 games on the schedule, possibly 8 if they can get the UTRGV series to be rescheduled, which they're still trying to do, by the way. You see Riley Grizzly with the shot. Still time, but at this point, definitely you got to be looking ahead to the tournament. It's going to come down to those 3 games in Vegas. Esquire also saying, let's just hope the WAC tournament doesn't get canceled and the Aggies are left out looking in. Yeah, just like you said, comes down to the WAC tournament. Hopefully it does happen. Hopefully that is what decides the automatic bid. You see Johnny McCants knocking down the 3-point shot. Yeah, I mean, it is a one big conference at the end of the day, so it really does just come down to how you handle that WAC tournament. Alex M saying that Williamson kid was pretty good in this series. Yeah, I mean, only as a freshman, pretty good rim protector, able to space the floor well, hit a couple threes in this series, I think. Seattle really hasn't had a guy at that 5 spot, or even really the 4 spot, that can space the floor well. They didn't have that last year. They were really leaning on their guard play with Terrell Brown and Morgan Means. Now they got a little bit more of a balanced team. Riley Grigsby is really contributing on the wing. Williamson is playing well down low. Mecca, Bendu had some pretty solid outings in this one. I think the last game he was 6 for 6 from the floor. It's a good Seattle team, man. It is. They definitely have to be hitting their shots because they can go through some cold stretches. They're towards the bottom of the WAC in points per game. I think they're just a little bit above 70. But it's a solid Seattle team. And obviously, they're as good as a guy like Darion Tremble plays. If he's playing well, they're hard to beat because he is one of the more explosive players in the WAC. Grigsby with a little step back. Got that one to go down, and it's Seattle with a 1-point lead, 10:30 on the clock in this first half. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. If you guys are enjoying this live stream, please leave a like, subscribe if you haven't, because we do this after every single New Mexico State series, Mondays and Tuesdays. In addition to our Straight Shooter podcast, Jason Groves, our editor who covers New Mexico State football, actually just posted an interview with, I believe it was the quarterback coach for New Mexico State, if I am not mistaken. Let me see real quick. New Mexico State assistant Chase Hallbrook. So we just have an interview posted on our channel a few hours ago, I think like an hour or 2 ago. An interview with him, so not just basketball content. Whenever women's basketball plays, we publish their post-game press conferences with Coach Atkinson and all that. So plenty of content here as we have a break. I mean, Gilliard on the ground, but he does get back up. Gilliard is not new to taking some hard hits, very much known for drawing charges. He'll be all right. Williamson at the line right now for the Redhawks. First one is up. It is good. Nate Robinson checking into the game for Seattle. Second one is going to be on the way for Williamson, trying to make it a 3-point game in this one. And they'll do just that. Aggies with the basketball, 9:40 on the clock. Trying to avoid that sweep. for the second time in the past 2 weekends. And they've lost the first game, now trying to get a split on Saturday. Clayton Henry, cash money. One of the better 3-and-D players in the WAC, without a doubt. Really just does everything. That's what's crazy is that, I was labeling him a lot as a 3-and-D player heading into the season, but he really has just proven that he does a whole lot more than that. Rebounding being one of the other big things that he does well. Just does a little bit of everything for the Aggies. Can move up and down the lineup, whether it be 2 through 4. One of the more impactful players on the team, without a doubt. Tie ball game here. Just under 9 minutes left in this first half. The S Squad says, gonna go grab dinner. Thanks for doing these and opening up for discussion live. I'm G_unit_Colima over on Twitter later. Appreciate you for tuning in. Have a good rest of your night. Yeah, we do this every Monday and Tuesday, so feel free to join us for these. As we see, CJ Roberts thought he banked it in for the 4-point play. If they're going to say he stuck out his leg too much, that's something that they've been enforcing a lot lately. Is that if you're trying to draw that contact, actually an offensive foul on you, you're just pretty much hitting the other player. So that one's going to get waved off, which I think is the right call. I don't think the defender cut off his landing spot. I think he was getting his legs out a little bit too much. So tough break for the Aggies, but I think a good call. Tie ball game here. 8:33 left in this first half. That reminds me, though, when he said going to grab dinner. I don't know why. When I went back and rewatched all of New Mexico State's games from last season, this past summer, I chose to do these live streams at 6 o'clock. And it sucked every time because I was starving by the time the live stream was over. I don't know why I picked 6 o'clock. Like, I did it to myself by picking that time. That's normally right when I eat dinner. So that's why we're doing it at 7 o'clock this season, just so I can eat beforehand. Because, yeah, no, I can't wait until like 8:30 to eat dinner. I don't want to eat during the live stream. That's just weird. But Darren Henson missing the 3-point shot. Clayton Henry, one of those many offensive rebounds that he got in this one. Getting it down low to Tillman, now out to McCants, and to Jabari Rice. 14 on the shot clock here. Rice looking for something. Good cutoff by Williamson to not let that pick and roll happen with McCants, who was cutting to the basket. He said it's a tough take by Jabari, but it still goes down. I mean, at that point, he's got to tip your cap to him. Good defense, but just better offense. Williamson trying to get the response there with a 3-point shot, and he does. It's a 1-point lead for New Mexico State now. Yeah, pretty impressive Williamson. Definitely one of the guys that impressed me the most in the series. Because, I mean, you go into the series already knowing what you're going to get out of Darion Trammell and Riley Grigsby, even Aaron Nettles to an extent. Williamson is one of those guys that's on the rise for the Red Hawks. As we got a break here, once again, shout out to NM Aggie Athletic Archive for providing this video, for editing out all of those commercials and stuff like that. So that way we don't have like a 2.5 hour video. I think this got trimmed down to, oh, actually it's a pretty long one, 150, wow. It's only like 130. That's weird. Just went for a bit of a long live stream, which is fine. Donnie Tillman coming onto the court here. Didn't play a whole lot in this game. I think he only played 12 minutes because he fouled out pretty quickly. Scoreless outing for him, which is a pretty big difference from the first game where he had, I believe it was 19 points, 8 rebounds, something like that. Let me see. You see the free throw by McCants is good. Yeah, game 1, 16 points and 9 rebounds for Donnie Tillman. And then in this one, 0 points in 11:23. So we see him trying to get the jump ball here, and there's one of those fouls. That's going to stick with Seattle. It is good to see the Aggies pressing in this one. I know I kind of sound like a broken record during these live streams, but it's always weird to me when New Mexico State is down by double digits with a minute left in the game, and all of a sudden they want a full court press. You know, I definitely like that they're applying a little bit of pressure early on, just so that way they don't have to lean on their half-court offense as much, because they haven't been able to consistently produce with that. It'd be good for them to get some turnovers, getting on the transition, getting some easier looks. Grigsby going to let that one fly. That one rims out. And Clayton Henry, another rebound, one of his 10. Kai with the basketball, swinging it around. And we got Caleb Williams here. 2-point lead for the Aggies with 6:20 left in the first half. And Kai searching for something here, swinging it around the perimeter. You see Jabari Rice. Good find for Williams, although that one is off. We got Emeka with the rebound. Not a whole lot of depth for this Seattle team. You're going to see the starting five on the court for a good amount of time in this one. We really don't have a whole lot of guys off the bench to come on and contribute. You know, you get a little bit of Nate Robinson, a little bit of Darren Henson, some Rip Economo, but for the most part, it's this starting five that plays for the most of the game. Loose ball here sticks with New Mexico State. Jabari Rice is a deep 2, and that one is no good. Emeka with the rebound. Trammell with the basketball. He's been quiet so far. We got a foul. Actually missed his first 10 shot attempts, which is very much unlike him. Credit has to go to New Mexico State. You know, they put a number of different guys on him, whether it be Evan Gilliard, Jabari Rice, Caleb Williams. Did a good job of sticking with him, which is tough to do. You know, he did finish with 16 points in this one, although it was on 4 for 16 shooting. So you'll take that if you're New Mexico State. It's about as best as you can hope for the WAC's leading scorer. Williamson getting into the game here. The Aussie. One more free throw here for Trammell. That one's up and it is good. And here's a rare break for Trammell as Nate Robinson checks into the game. Johnny can't set the inbound here. Yeah, a lot of PT with Caleb Williams. Didn't really play a whole lot in some of these previous series. Grand Canyon, I think he only played a handful of minutes. Second game, I don't think he played at all. He's someone that I definitely think deserves some minutes in that second unit. Good facilitator on the offensive end. Capable of finishing around the rim, as we see there with a nice take. But also just one of the better defenders. He's a better defender than C.J. Roberts. You know, even though Roberts can score a little bit easier. Williams seems to play with just a little bit more poise. We see Nettles with the basketball. Johnny LeCamp's defending. Grigsby going to go to work here. Good be there by Johnny. Something Johnny's been really trying to improve on is his perimeter defense. His foot speed tends to get burned on the perimeter whenever he goes up against a more mobile player. That's a good job there for him to stick with Riley Grigsby. Same height, but Grigsby's a little bit more mobile. Caleb Williams with the basketball. William McNair extending his range. You don't see a whole lot of that out of him. He did hit a three-pointer in that second game against Cal Baptist, but for the most part, he's going to go to work down low. Robinson driving, and he will draw the foul. Three goes for him, but we got a break first. 3-point lead for New Mexico State with 3:37 left in this first half. So after this, the Aggies got Utah Valley on Friday and Saturday. It's going to be a good one. I don't want to give my predictions or anything like that because I'll do that in the Straight Shooter podcast, which will be published here on YouTube tomorrow at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. It'll also be on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Facebook, lcsunnews.com. There'll be a link to all of those on my Twitter, which is actually Sports2. I'll be doing a full preview of that series with Black Hoops Digest's Kyle McDonald. We'll give our predictions for it. But it's definitely going to be a good series. A bit of a measuring stick type of series for New Mexico State since Utah Valley is one of the better teams in the WAC. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to going out there to Eastwood High School in El Paso. You see Gerald Dokes getting some minutes here in the first half. Spire Basketball Academy committed from Spire Basketball Academy. A true freshman point guard. Playing Henry with a 3-point shot. Good rebound by Johnny McCants, though. Yeah, I know Dokes is one of the guys that Aggie fans are the most excited about. Good athleticism, passing, speed, really good elevation on his shot, which is something that Jans always references whenever he talks about him. That's something that he likes a lot about him. Which is good because he's at 6'2", So having that elevation allows him to get his shots over some taller defenders. He's a solid player. I think it's going to take a little while for him to build a really consistent role. Probably next season is when I think he'll really start to get some meaningful minutes. Although you never know because players get that extra year of eligibility, so everyone might come back. A guy like Evan might come back. But I think it's going to take about a year for him to really start to see that progress. Same with a guy like Marcus Watson. Also another new guy with plenty of potential. You see a look at Coach Jans, Coach Miller there. Johnny McCants at the free throw line. Gets that one to go down. 2:54 left in the first half. Really low scoring first half. Kind of the exact opposite of game one. Where both teams were shooting in the 50s, 50% from the floor. You see that one is on Trammell. Pushed off a little bit too much on the bar, and they're going to call him for that. One of, I think, 6 turnovers for Trammell in this one. Also very much unlike him. Normally has a pretty good assist-to-turnover ratio. Yeah, 6 turnovers. And that's something that Jan just talked about a lot after game one and even after game two, is that the thing you got to do with Trammell is just try to apply pressure to him, because if you don't, it's just like a walk in the park for him. He's going to make you pay. So the big thing was just being in his space at all times, having different guys on him so he doesn't get used to the same defender. A little bit of ball denial as well, as you see right there with Gilliard, just not even letting him get the pass. As that one gets called off. With a guy that's as explosive of a scorer as Trammell, that's really all you can do. Just try to make things a little bit difficult for him. And yeah, he did a good job of that in this one. Without a doubt. 25-20 in favor of New Mexico State. So we got a break here. Coach not happy with that call. .202 left until halftime. Appreciate everybody for tuning in, as always. Hopefully y'all are doing well, staying safe, staying warm. Um, it's been getting pretty bad out in Texas. For those who don't know, I'm from Texas, um, and I went to school at UT Austin, and over there right now they've had a lot of power outages. Um, it's bad. I had one of my friends who still goes to school there. He said that it's about 35 degrees in his apartment. They have no power and like he can't even see his breath right now. That's how cold it is in his place. There was another lady who I think she was a professor at UT, but she had like a fish tank with all of her fish in it. And they all froze. Um, the line outside of like the grocery store takes like an hour and a half just to get inside of it. Um, yeah, so hopefully everybody is staying safe. I know it's not too far away from here. And I actually had a little bit of an outage here earlier today. It was just for like a split second, but yeah, hopefully everybody's staying safe, staying warm. See, Alex M saying, feel Lakai has cooled off since the WNU game and GCU series. I mean, the thing is that you're not looking for Lakai to be one of the top contributors. I think for this season, he really is going to be just one of the better contributors off the bench. So I think in that sense, it's not like he's letting anyone down. He's still producing. But yeah, like that series against Grand Canyon, he was one of their top options. I definitely don't expect him to keep that up throughout the season. I do still think at the end of the season he'll be the top scorer off the bench in points per game. He's going to get into the starting lineup every now and then, just whenever he matches up better at that 5 spot than the Cants. But he's someone I like a lot on this team, though, for sure. I don't know who's coming back next year, as we see Dokes and 3-point shot. It's down to go down. I don't know who's coming back this year, if Johnny is, because they do get that extra year. But if guys like Johnny were to leave, then yeah, I think Wilford's going to really have an expanded role and handle it well. I think he's ready for it. As we get a break right here. Why is that laptop going on? Break right here, 30-23. Stephen M., good evening all. What did I miss? Appreciate you tuning in, Stephen, as always. Just wrapping up this first half here. 30-23, New Mexico State. Not a whole lot of news or no news basketball related for the Aggies for me to report on. Not a whole lot. Personal news for me. My laptop is no longer working, so I'm using a different laptop right now that fortunately our photographer Nathan Fish let me use. This is his personal laptop. So I'm having to work with this, and I'll have to try to edit the podcast and all that on this laptop. I have to go back and find all the sound effects for the podcast because they were on my laptop. So it's gonna be a long night of trying to make all that stuff work. Podcast will still be up tomorrow at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. Sun News Spotlight is gonna be on Donnie Tillman tomorrow on lcsunnews.com, so make sure to stay tuned for that. You see Johnny with the soaring through the air for that lob and then going back up for the bucket. It's 32-23 New Mexico State at halftime. You can see Johnny is definitely not at full strength. Took a really hard spill in that first game. He's holding his lower back, sort of like his right around his hip. Still playing through it though. Also, I was hoping to get Donnie Tillman on the podcast. Wasn't able to get anything with him today, which sucks, but still going to try to talk to him tomorrow and get it for the podcast. Can't make any guarantees, though. One person that will be on the show, though, will be Kyle McDonald of Black Hoops Digest. He's going to be on the final segment where I preview the Utah Valley series since he graduated from Utah Valley. Obviously, is still a fan of the team, so he'll be able to provide some really good insight on the squad. Just wrapped up the interview with him a few hours ago, so it's going to be a good podcast, though. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a longer one because that segment with Kyle, I think it was like shoot, like 15 minutes alone. So it's going to be a bit of a long podcast, probably about pushing 20 minutes. So some really good content coming out. You see Trammell with the basketball here, 9-point lead for New Mexico State. Trammell with just 1 point in that first half. No made field goal attempts after dropping 22 in game one. Aggies really tried to lock in on him in this one. Evan Gilliard, the second with the basketball here, first possession. First possession of the second half. You see Johnny McCann starting off the second half. He did return to the starting lineup in this game. First time in the past 2 contests. He sat out game 1 against Seattle and game 2 against Cal Baptist in favor of Wilfred Lakai. You know, I asked Jans about that in his press conference on Monday, just what led to that decision to bring him back. And he pretty much downplayed it, as you would expect, saying that, you know, it doesn't really matter who starts the game, which is true. But, you know, he had said in previous interviews that he felt that Johnny wasn't giving his best effort, wasn't playing as well as he should be playing. So, as much as you might want to downplay the fact that he got into the starting lineup, it is a good sign that clearly he's doing something right off the court that'll make the team feel like it's worth bringing him back into that first unit. Either way, he is probably going to switch with guys like Lakai throughout the season, just depending on matchups. It'll be interesting to see who starts in this upcoming series against Utah Valley, because Fardaws Amok at 6'11", nation's best rebounder. I think he's averaging 15.7 rebounds per game, something like that, just under 16. This is ridiculous. So we'll see who Jans goes with at that 5 spot. Maybe Wilfred Lakai. I'm going to guess that it'll be Johnny. I'm sort of just giving him the benefit of the doubt. And then if he doesn't handle game 1 well, then probably it'll be Lakai starting off in game 2. Like that Cal Baptist series against that. 9-point lead. Neither team has scored yet in the second half. Slow start. Steven M says Kerr needs to start. I get that there's a lot of excitement around him, but I don't think he's ready to start just yet. You know, he's not conditioned to play starting minutes. You know, he didn't play a whole lot at South Florida. Hasn't played a whole lot this season. I think even once he does begin to gain that trust from Jans, they're gonna have to slowly ramp up his production, not just immediately throw him into a big role where he's getting 20+ minutes or something like that. You know, just in terms of conditioning. So I think it's going to be a little while until we see him really start to play some meaningful minutes for a long stretch of time. Jabari Rice with the free throw makes it a 10-point game. He's got one more on the way here. Trying to make it an 11-point lead for the Aggies. That one is no good. We do have a foul here. It's going Seattle's way. I do have it on mute, so I'm a little bit lost sometimes. I think I say that about 3 times per live stream, probably. But Grigsby with the basketball here. Liking that New Mexico State is applying pressure. Didn't see that in the first game until the game was already out of reach. Really good recovery there by McCants. But Rip Economos, I'm knocking it down. It really makes you wonder why they haven't been pressing earlier when their half-court offense is struggling. But they're doing a little bit of that in this game, so that's good to see. Clayton Henry with the open shot. Nice find by McCants. It's off. McCants gets the rebound, and he'll draw a foul on the floor. Aggies really made it a point to win the battle on the glass in this one after they lost in game 1 on the glass. You know, that's something that New Mexico State definitely takes pride in. Its defense and its work on the boards. And neither of those things were good in game 1. allowing the Seattle team to get 83 points. It's a below average offense in the WAC, putting up 83 points. You can't have that. Getting beat on the glass by a Seattle team that, again, doesn't particularly uh, fare well on the glass normally. Just out of character for them in game one, but started to tighten it up in this one, and we're up to the wings. We see Gerald Dokes, a three-point shot, no good. Clayton Henry getting that offensive rebound. Game high 10 rebounds for him in this one. How many of them were offensive rebounds? I think it was 4 or 5. I'll get to your comment right now, whoever it was, I just saw it. Let's see, 5 offensive rebounds for Clayton Henry. Let's see. Tom Ortiz, appreciate you tuning in. That is a new name I haven't seen yet, so thank you for chiming in. It says Watson's increased minutes will benefit more this season than getting Kerr more time. I feel he'll get us more boards once he learns Jans' system better. I would agree with that. That probably, if you had to pick one guy to give you more, to contribute more, I would think Watson would be more impactful just because with Jason King out there, really don't have a whole lot of guys that can come in off the bench and provide some backup minutes at that 3 spot. You look at a guy like Gerald Dokes, Caleb Williams are a bit too small to fit into that 3 spot. When you look at the 5 spot, you at least have William McNair coming off the bench, and he's been playing pretty well as of late. So it would obviously help a lot if Kerr would come in and really start to ramp up his production, but I think Watson is the guy that New Mexico State, whose production they could use the most, But, there's still time for both of them to contribute. They still got 6 games left, as we see Evan Gilliard knocking down 3. Still got 6 games in the regular season left, possibly 8 if they can get that UTRGB series rescheduled. They still do have time before the WAC tournament. It doesn't seem like it because it's only a few weeks away, but there still is some time for them. China McCants, yet another block for him. That's going to be an easy bucket for Emeka Udenyi. Senior says Big Tom Ortiz. I'm guessing you guys know each other. I'm guessing most of you guys are from Aggie Alert, I believe. I would assume so. And that's a pretty strong community on there. It's always good interacting with you guys over there. You see a look at Riley Grigsby. Didn't play in the last weekend series against Dixie State, but he returns here against New Mexico State. Still not sure what the reason was for why he didn't play. Good offensive rebound by Evan Gilliard. And at least a 3-point shot. That's exactly what Jan has been talking about the whole time. Is he needs everybody to step up on the glass. It's not just the big men. Clayton Henry is a perfect example at 6'4", but even Evan Gilliard getting into the lane, getting the offensive rebound. And a lot of times, if you get those offensive rebounds, you're going to get rewarded. In that case, this is Jabari Rice 3-pointer. 11-point lead for New Mexico State. 15:22 left in this one. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. If you guys are enjoying this, please leave a like, subscribe if you haven't. Because we do this twice a week, Mondays and Tuesdays. In addition to the Straight Shooter podcast, Jason Groves, our editor who covers New Mexico State football, just posted an interview with the assistant coach. I already forgot his name. I did this earlier in the show. I don't really follow the New Mexico State football team too much because that's not my beat. But Chase Holbrook, New Mexico State assistant. We just published an interview with him, so make sure to check that out on the channel. We've been posting our post-game press conferences with Coach Atkinson for New Mexico State women's basketball. If we do have any high school football going on this year, we'll post interviews for that as well. So plenty of content on this channel if you guys aren't subscribed yet. Jabari Rice 3-point shot. He's feeling it. 12-point lead for the Aggies. Seattle's going to call timeout to try to stop the bleeding here. 14:54 left in this contest. Aggies trying to avoid the sweep. Get something going here. They got a long climb up the WAC standings, but this one will go a long way. This following weekend isn't going to be any easier. Utah Valley Um, Sitting at, what are they in the? I know they only have 2 losses in black play. I don't know how many wins. I believe it's 5 or 7. But it's a good Utah Valley team, so tough sledding ahead for the Aggies. It's gonna bother me if I don't find this out. So give me 1 second, guys. How many wins does Utah Valley have? 5. So 5-2 in black play. Grand Canyon still sitting atop the standings. If you're going off win percentage, and UTRGB is up there, even though they're only 2-0. Jabari Rice with the rebound here, going the other way. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Still there for Tremel, but he blows the open layups. It's not his night. Credit to Jabari for sticking with it, though, hustling on the other end. At the end of the day, that's a very much makeable shot for Tremel. You can tell he's hasn't been able to get into a rhythm the whole contest. We got a foul on the floor here. See Marcus Watson getting some minutes. Only played about 2 minutes in the first game. It was a little bit surprising. He's in here for this one. The Oklahoma State transfer, former 4-star recruit. 6'6", can play the 2 or the 3. Plenty of reason to be excited about his potential. DC Grigsby at the line. First one is off. Second one is on the way for the junior forward, who really has been playing well all season. I think what I want to do towards the end of the season, they don't have a WAC Most Improved award. But I think I want to put out an article kind of giving my Most Improved award and then a couple honorable mentions. There's a lot of guys. This is Jabari Rice, and he is really feeling it now. He's locked in from deep. There's a lot of guys like Darion Trammell, who is a newcomer, so they have that newcomer award. But there's a lot of guys who have come back and have put in that work this past offseason, and it's paying off. Riley Grigsby is a good example. Jamison Overton at Utah Valley. Also Trey Woodbury at Utah Valley. Quentin Johnson at UTRGB. There's plenty of guys who have really upped their game. So I think I'll probably do that at the end of the season. You see Evan Gilliard getting to the lane and finishing. Tom Ortiz says, Justin, who's been the most vocal leader for this year's squad? Shun did such a good job in that role last season. Yeah, Shun really did. From what Jan just told me, the big one is like Jabari Rice. He's really been one of those guys. Evan Gilliard as well. Those are probably the 2 biggest ones. He said that Jan said that he really thought it was going to be Johnny as one of those. But he really hasn't embraced that kind of like alpha dog mentality, I think is what he said. I'm paraphrasing because it was from a press conference a little while ago. So really the 2 big ones are probably Jabari Rice and Evan Gilliard. And you can see that even when Jabari was dealing with his foot injury on the sideline, he's there coaching up everybody. He's probably the biggest one for me. Hey, Sean was the perfect example of, an extra coach on the court pretty much. I was actually thinking about doing an article, kind of just catching up with as many recent New Mexico State graduates as possible. Maybe turning it into a series as we see Marcus Watson missing the shot. Obviously, it's going to be a matter of who wants to talk to me because at this point they're graduated. They don't have to talk to me. But I would love to talk to a guy like Trev. I know that's going to be hard because he's out in the G League doing this thing. But maybe try to talk to AJ Harris. I know he just signed with an MBL1 team, the Hobart Chargers in Australia. Yvonne's been playing pretty well in Iceland. But I think doing an article on like Shun would be really cool because out of all the players on that team, him and I think CJ Bogart, like they're the ones whose careers have ended once they graduated. I think it'd be cool to kind of see that, not everybody goes on to play pro ball after that, but life still moves on after that. So it'd be cool to catch up with one of them and just see what they're up to. I know Sean is back in Mississippi, where he's from. I don't know a whole lot of what he's doing nowadays. But yeah, let me know if you guys think that'd be a good series, a good written series that I can do, kind of just but where are they now type of deal. Those are really the kind of things that I'll probably do in the off season, just when we're a little bit slow on content. It's something I can put out every single week. Because obviously during the season my schedule is pretty booked. With the Sun News Spotlight, the podcast, the games on the weekends, which I'm normally off on the weekends. I haven't even really talked about that too much. My weekends are normally Saturday and Sunday, and now it's turned into just Sunday. Which is fine. I mean, at least they're paying for overtime and stuff. But busy during the season, but during the off season, I'm definitely going to need stuff to do. So it's probably one of the things on the list. 11-point lead for New Mexico State. Stephen M., where are they now would be a great story. Yeah, I think so too. It's definitely something I could do every single week, assuming I can talk to them. I do have a lot of their numbers and stuff like that from my off-season web series, the Straight Shooter one. Like I know I have Yvonne's number and CJ and them, so I think I can make it work. I think we could. Darion Trammell with the basketball here, 11:30 left in the second half. Aaron Nettles with the basketball. A bit of a slow game for him. He was really feeling it in that first game, but consistency has always been one of his things. Quiet outing for him in this one. Trammell, another missed shot. I think that puts him at 0 for 10. 0 for 9, something like that. I know he missed his first 10 shots. It's crazy that you can miss your first 10 shots and he still finishes with 16 points. Marcus Watson with a 3-pointer, no good. It wasn't the most efficient outing for him because he was 4 for 16, but when you're that explosive of a scorer, even on your cold days, it's 16 points for you. He's still going to find a way to get on that scoreboard. And you'll take that if you're New Mexico State. If the only way he's scoring is from the free throw line, if he's committing 6 turnovers when he's normally one of the better floor generals in the WAC, you'll definitely take that. It's a good effort by the New Mexico State backcourt to contain him. Riley Grigsby, almost like a football player there, flying in for the interception. And so the basketball now to Economo. Nettles trying to drive on McCants. The defense found McCants to stick on him. And trying to work on that perimeter defense, I think is really the next big step from McCants' game. If you're going to be one of those in-betweeners at 6'7", if you're going to be one of those guys who spaces the floor well on offense, and on the flip side, you also need to be switchable on defense. That's something that we talked about in our off-season web series when I talked to him way back in the summer. It's just being able to keep up with some of these guards whenever you get switched up with them on the perimeter. Did a better job of that there, although I think it was a foul on Will. I want to say Johnny got a clean contest there. Yeah, I think that's the next step for Johnny's game. 10-point lead for New Mexico State. 10:35 left in this one. Appreciate everybody for tuning in, as always. Live coverage for you guys this upcoming weekend for Utah Valley. I'll be out there in El Paso. Hopefully I'll be out there in St. George, Utah. Maybe Stephenville, Texas. I know that's the next one against Arlington State. Hopefully. Normally towards the end of the season, it becomes tougher for me to travel just because the paper tends to say, well, we're going to save all our money because we know you got the WAC tournament coming up, which is a pretty big expense, with the hotel, the flight, all that stuff. So normally those games towards the end of the season, my chances are not as good to get approved for me to go travel, but we'll see. I'll push to try to get at least one of those, whether it be Tarleton State or Dixie State. I really have no preference. But hopefully I can make one of those work. Either way, though, for sure the game's in El Paso. I'll be out of those. Which, if the UTRGV series does get rescheduled, it will be a home series for New Mexico State, so it would be in El Paso. If that happens, I know the team is still trying to make that work. Obviously, as of late, with the passing of Coach Hill at UTRGV, the team hasn't even really been looking for games. They called off their one against Cal Baptist. I think they're back at it. They're going to play this weekend. So hopefully they can get something sorted out with the Aggies. The more games, the better for New Mexico State at this point, Because, at this point, if they lose, if they split these series, seeding isn't as big of an issue for New Mexico State in the WAC tournament at this point. Even if they were to make the NCAA tournament, I think regardless of how they finish out this season, they're pretty much locked into that kind of 14 to 15 seed. At this point, when it comes to the regular season, not the WAC tournament, obviously, but when it comes to the regular season, it's more about just gaining experience and getting wins, really. So if they can get that UTRGV series, that would be big for them. And it's good competition, too. Vaqueros are one of the better teams in the WAC. You see Billiard with a missed shot from the corner. Seattle just hanging around, down by 8. And just from my perspective as a journalist, these are the games you really hate if you're a journalist, because New Mexico State's been winning the whole way, but it's not quite it's not quite as convincing of a lead where I can just say, okay, I'm already assuming they're going to win. Let me just start writing up this article. There's still a chance that Seattle can come back, so I have to have that second article written up just in case they do end up blowing that lead. Like the Cal State Northridge game was a perfect example of that, where it looked like New Mexico State was going to win it. I already had the article written saying they were going to win it because, my print deadline is about 5 to 10 minutes after the game's over, so I have to write during the game. And then all of a sudden they blow the lead, and it's like, oh shoot, now I need to really type like crazy to fix it. So yeah, these games aren't fun to cover, but fun to watch though, definitely. 8-point lead for New Mexico State. Redhawks just hanging around in this one. You see a look at Economo there. And we're going to have a bit of a break. Just taking a quick look at Twitter real quick. I got this break. Looks like they're looking at something here. I do have it on mute. I guess a lane violation they're checking for. There's for those that are keeping track, I think this is the third time this stream I've said it. I do have it on mute so that you guys can hear me, so sometimes I'm going to be lost, which is in this instance the case. With a 6-point lead for New Mexico State, with 9:17 left in this contest. Once the game is over, we'll look over the final stats, read off some quotes. We talked to Coach Jans after this one. And when I read off the quotes, I normally only put 2 to 3 of them in the article, but if you guys do want to watch the full post-game press conference, it is here on our YouTube channel. There should be a playlist on our site that says New Mexico State Pressers, which has press conferences for everybody. It's Coach Atkinson for women's basketball, Jans for men's basketball. Once New Mexico State football starts up, we'll have our post-game press conferences for Coach Martin on here. So that's where you can find all of those press conferences. Although this one was a pretty short one because it was about 1 o'clock in the morning. Closer to 2 o'clock in the morning their time because they're out in Pacific time in Seattle. So we kept the interview pretty short. I think it was only like 8 minutes. I was the only media member there, so I only asked a few questions for this one. We are still talking things over. Look at that rebound differential. 36 to 17 in favor of New Mexico State. Really the difference maker. Tom O'Fee says rumors of canceling the WAC tournament are making the rounds. Would the WAC really want to miss out on the revenue? Currently, only GCU would probably be cool, but not ODID. Any inside scoop? I don't have any inside scoop, but I do agree that I feel like it would be unlikely just because of the revenue they would miss out on. Um, yeah, GCU definitely would take it because it'd be an automatic bid, but I have a hard time believing that is going to happen. That's just my gut feeling about it. I really don't have too many. I really don't have any real sources within the actual board for the WAC that's making those decisions. But that will kind of be my immediate reaction to that. Is just that I think that's unlikely. We see Wilfred Lakai at the free throw line. But, with all that being said, it's been a crazy season. So at this point, when I gotta say it's unlikely as opposed to just shutting it down because nothing would surprise me with this season. Unfortunately, that's just how it's been playing out. Rip with the 3-point shot, no good. It's gonna stick with Seattle. Alex M says also hearing about schools that have an auto bid locked up, passing on the conference tournament. Yeah, Gonzaga did that, and BYU I think also did that. There might be some more, but yeah, if they haven't already locked up, a lot of them are, or a few of them are starting to say that we're gonna wait until the NCAA tournament. Which I mean, at the end of the day, if it's to keep the players safe, so I get that. But we've seen how much a lengthy pause can affect a team. New Mexico State being a great example of that. So it will be interesting to see how much that does affect those teams if it does end up biting them in the long run. If a team like Gonzaga comes into the tournament and all of a sudden isn't playing as well. I guess there's getting back to it. You're keeping your players safe, but also might be setting them back a little bit. Wolfie Lakai with a 3-point shot. That one is no good. Aaron Nettles going the other way, trying to get something going. Hit the first shot of the game, but haven't done a whole lot else since then. Darion Tremble also trying to get something going to work on Clayton Henry, and that is his first bucket of the game, I believe. First made field goal. Now, the dangerous part about a guy like Tremble is that that's all it takes. Once you get that first one, the rim starts to look bigger. Able to catch fire so quickly. I think in this final 8 minutes and 8 seconds, he had 13 of his 16 points. So all it takes is just that one bucket to get him going. Mecca Udengi liking what he's seeing. 3-point lead for New Mexico State. The Redhawks are hanging around. Good move there by Tremble. A little hesitation to shake Williams, but still no good. We do have foul, I'm guessing, on Economo. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. If you guys are enjoying this live stream, please leave a like. Subscribe if you have not. Just gotta say that every now and then. It definitely does help the channel grow anytime you guys can do that, so always appreciated. Bar Rice with the free throw. That one is good. 2-possession lead for New Mexico State now, so that's a big one. Still a lot of time left in this game. Second one is up. Got it to go down. I'm just now noticing they have those inflatable things. I don't know what they're called, but they have them at like the like dealerships, that inflatable thing with like the arms go crazy. They got them in the stands there. That's pretty cool. Here at the Red Hawk Center in Seattle, Washington. You see there it is there. I guess to distract the other team. They're shooting free throws or something. Henson not happy with that, but it's going to be called on him. Washington State transfer. Bit surprised he hasn't gotten a bigger role on the team. I think he's a graduate student. I want to say, I might be wrong about it, but he was one of the guys that I thought was going to come in and really be one of the more impactful newcomers, but that hasn't seemed to happen yet. I guess with the rise of Kobe Williamson, he's been outplaying him so far. Let me see. I believe he's a graduate student, if not like a redshirt senior. Yeah, graduate transfer. Pasadena, California, Washington State transfer. Didn't play a whole lot with the Cougars, but looked pretty good on film when I was watching him. I was kind of previewing the teams at the beginning of the season. Anyways, Grigsby with the basketball. 6-point lead for New Mexico State. Speaking of Williamson, he's going to work here on McCants, giving it out to Robinson. A little up and under. That one is no good, and Rice gets the rebound. Pretty wise of them, slowing this one down. Time is on the side of New Mexico State in this case. Clayton Henry with the basketball, now to Johnny McCants. Gotta move now. 5 seconds on the shot clock. You're looking for something. McCants is going to have to put it up. He gets it to go down. Johnny McCants with a big bucket to put the Aggies back up 9. I know he made that shot, and I know he kind of had to put it up because he was at the end of the shot clock. So I'm not referring to just that one play, but you do kind of want to see Johnny find more balance with his shot. He's been leaning on that three-point shooting just a bit too much so far this season. You know, and I know that sounds a little weird coming from me because I praised him for being one of those guys that can spread the floor well. But at the same time, now that he's at the 5 spot, you know, there's more responsibility for him to have a post presence. As opposed to last season when he was at the 4, you knew you had to go out of Coachella down low. To go to work down low, to have that presence on the glass. So Johnny was able to spread the floor more. But it's a different role for him. You know, it's a different role for him this year. And so Jans even said it too. It's not that he thinks that Johnny's shooting too many threes. It's just that he's shooting too many twos, if that makes sense. And I definitely agree with that. So we'll see if they can find that balance moving forward. Spry Rice swinging it around. Evan Gilliard with the shot. Leaves that one short on the rim. Charlie Grigsby wide open. He can knock those down. You can't make him pay on that one. 6-1 lead for New Mexico State. Aggie's trying to improve to 5-5 on the season. 2-4 in black play. On the shot clock. A lot of lengthy possessions for the Aggies here as they are running out this clock a bit. Good contest there by Seattle. I think that was, who was that? Nate Robinson. Tough finish. So was that Grigsby getting that contest down low? Either way, good finish by Robinson, and it's only a 4-point game, folks. 4:56 left in this contest. Really wish I could have gone out to this series. Seattle, you know, just for the city alone, that's probably the place that I wanted to travel to the most this season. Wasn't able to make it happen, although from what I heard, there was a lot of snow over there. It's not like I would have gotten to go sightseeing or anything like that anyways, obviously with COVID too. But from what I heard, it was a lot of just staying in their hotel rooms if you're in New Mexico State. Probably would have been the same for me, so maybe it's for the best that I didn't go. But hopefully next year I'll get to get out there. With this. It's like Johnny had to hold back there. He probably would have been goaltending. Yeah, Seattle would have been cool. Phoenix is still cool. I love Phoenix. I think it's great out there. I've gone out to Grand Canyon the past 2 years, and that's always been fun. Actually, I take it back. The one I really want to go to the most is UTRGV because I'm from Edinburgh, Texas. For those who don't know, so that's actually the one I would want to go to the most, just because I rarely get to go back home. My immediate family lives in San Antonio now, and a good amount of my extended family, so I don't get to go home to Edinburgh too much. So yeah, traveling out to that probably would be at the top of my list. But obviously, if they do play this season against New Mexico State, it would be at home in El Paso. So it's not going to happen this year. We see Gilliard with the basketball. Getting it to Johnny McCants. Good kick out. Great ball movement by New Mexico State. No good. Johnny McCants boxing out well down low. Really the point of New Mexico State in this one. Crazy, not happy about it. Neither is Coach Hayford. He says, it's cool, man. Let's just go. Let's go. A little bit of frustration there from him. You see McCants definitely shaken up. Been taking some hard falls as of late. The last game, took a really hard fall while trying to box out. Game 2, I believe, against Cal Baptist. Maybe game 1. Took another hard foul while boxing out. Definitely looks like he is not at full strength, but playing through it, which is the case for a couple of Aggie players, Jabari Rice included. Darion Trammell finding a way to get something going here. 4-point deficit now. And I almost got that steal there. It's going to stick with New Mexico State. It's crazy. You really would think there would be a drop-off after losing the leader in points per game in the WAC last season, which was Terrell Brown for Seattle. For them to not have a guy off the bench, a backup point guard, that, there wasn't anyone you could really point to, like, okay, he's just going to pick up Terrell Brown's role. You just assumed there was going to be a drop-off. But Trammell has come in and really played well. There really hasn't been much of a drop-off. He's probably going to be the WAC newcomer of the year, or at least in contention. Maybe have Jordan Midgard. Probably have Jordan Midgard, actually, but still. Guys come in and has really played well. He's frustrated he didn't get that finish. He's going to get free throws. He is, what's the name of the college again? City College of San Francisco transfer. Same place that Terrell Brown from New Mexico State was at one point. I think Terrell is Terrell from Oakland? Because Darion is from Marin City, California. I'm just wondering, maybe they played any high school basketball against each other. I don't know how close those two places are. But that's interesting there. 4-point lead for New Mexico State. Little Trammell trying to make this a one-possession game. Still looks like he can get that and one. .328 left in this contest. Once this game is over, we will look up the final stats. I'll read them off, and I'll also read the quotes from Coach Jans. If you guys want to see the full press conference, you can check it out on our channel here afterwards. Trammell with the line here. He's got 2 of them. This one is up. No good. The WAC's leader in points per game and assists per game. Although in this one, really having to live at the free throw line. Makes the big one there, which is what cuts it down to a one-possession game. 55-52 in favor of New Mexico State. Totally different outing from game one. This is all defense here. With Kalen Williams providing a little bit of offense. It's the big-time three-pointer, and it's a 5-point lead. I'm sorry, a 6-point lead. I can't do math. A 6-point lead for New Mexico State. Tremble calling for it. Jabari fighting off the screens. And a clean contest. Good help defense there as well by Clayton Henry. Six-point lead for New Mexico State. 2:45. Trying to avoid this sweep. Get something going here. Whack play. Johnny McCann searching for the open man. Aggies are swinging it around the perimeter. And we have a moving screen on Johnny McCants. Exactly 2:30 on the clock, folks. At the Red Hawk Center in Seattle, Washington. Tremble with the basketball here. Going to work on Jabari Rice. He's going to kick it out to Williamson. He can hit those, but he's passing up on it. Now to Nettles. Best three-point shooter on the team for Seattle, but that one is off. He has been off in this one. Gilliard just slicing through the defense. Now to Henry, back to McCants. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Aggie's got to move now. 1:45. Jabari Rice driving. Good contest by Kobe Williamson. Really underrated rim protector in the WAC. Trevor will draw the foul here. Tom of B says CJ has shown some nice ability to drive and score. Any word on why he only got 4 minutes this game? I don't think there's any word on it. I think it was just a matter of Darion Tremble was really lighting up New Mexico State in game one. And so I would imagine the decision there was just putting in Caleb Williams because he provides more defense, which he did in this one. He did a really good job on Tremble. I would imagine that was sort of the thought process for Coach Sands on it. That's just kind of my understanding of it. But, yeah, I think in that backcourt it really is going to be situational in terms of who gets more PT between him and C.J. Roberts. Roberts definitely provides more offense. Well, Williams, I think, provides more defense. And is still pretty good on offense. He's not going to score, but he's going to facilitate just as well, if not better, than C.J. Roberts. His shot selection, I think, is better than Roberts. So I think that's all that was a matter of. 58-53 in favor of New Mexico State. Time running out for the Red Hawks. .132 left in this contest, folks. Yeah, I mean, even Gerald Oaks got some more minutes in this one. I think he's a better defender than a guy like C.J. Roberts as well. Jan just said after this game, he didn't talk specifically about Roberts, but he did say that the player that they talked the most about after game one was Darion Tremble. That was the big thing they wanted to focus on. So you can see why they would roll with a guy like Williams and even Dokes to a certain extent. 5-point lead for New Mexico State. Hilliard going the other way. They're going to take this one slow, which is the right decision here. Time is on the Aggie side. Clayton Henry is going to pull the trigger and knock down the big three-point shot. Name a thing that Clayton Henry doesn't do for New Mexico State, man. Super impactful for the Aggies. Nate Robinson searching for something here. It's a good matchup with Williamson on Williams, but it's going to be a deflected ball there. Kick ball. Trammell set to inbound. Fresh 20 on the shot clock. Good move by Grigsby. Probably one of the more underrated players in the WAC. Does a lot for this team. Riley Grigsby, one of the more improved players in the conference for sure. Tom Ortiz says makes sense. Jans is a defense and rebound guy, so yeah, I would agree. Yeah, especially in a season like this where he said it before, guys need to establish that trust. I don't think there's a set group of guys like last season. Like you knew exactly who was going to be coming out on the court for New Mexico State last year. But I think this year where, they haven't been able to build that momentum, the staff hasn't been able to build that trust in some of these newer guys, I think we are going to see a lot of switching around. I think it's going to be really situational depending on who they're going up against. It's not like last season where it's just, we're going to put out these guys and try to beat us, New Mexico State is going to be the one that's making a lot of adjustments as opposed to the other way around. That's what we're going to be seeing a lot of this season, I believe. 61-55, New Mexico State. 48.2 per seconds left. Aggie's in the driver's seat, but no room for error here. Seattle is trying to force a turnover. Henry breaks the press. Almost an and one by Johnny, but he's going to get 2 free throws here. Two big free throws for the Las Cruces native. Trying to get this one up to an 8-point lead. More importantly, just a 3-possession lead. Just one free throw here will be that. 6 for 8 from the charity stripe from Johnny McCann. It's not too shabby from the big man. I think that's 7 for 9. Again, that's the big one. 3-possession game. One more here for McCants. Runs up, and it is good. 8 for 10 from the charity stripe from the redshirt senior. Trammell. He's going to go down shooting. I don't think that's a surprise to anybody. He's going to go down shooting. Even on a cold night, he wants that ball in his hands. And this team really needs a bucket. Good job by, I believe, Jabari there to get that ball out of that corner. That's the one spot you don't want to be in when you have that full court press on you. Kind of the rule is don't go to the corner, don't trap yourself. Because they're not going to foul right away. They're going to try to get that turnover on you. Good job by Jabari to get out of that. We got more free throws for the Aggies as they try to ice this one at the charity stripe. This time it is Evan Gilliard with the freebies. First time at the line for him in this one, and that one is short. It's going to be a 2-possession game here, regardless of if he makes this or not. Still hope for Seattle. I'm saying that as if I don't know the outcome of the game. You guys know what I mean. Missed free throw and then Clayton Henry. Man, did everything for New Mexico State in this one. 10 rebounds. 5 of them are offensive rebounds. 44-24 on the glass in favor of New Mexico State. Crazy. I don't want to say that Clayton is my favorite player because I try not to have any bias with these guys. At the end of the day, I work for the team. I cover the team. There's a difference. But the player whose game I enjoy watching the most and I appreciate the most, I guess is the best way to put it, I think it would have to be Clayton Henry just because of everything he does for this team. We see a good block there by Jabari Rice. Tremble hit a three-point shot on him. The last possession, Jabari wasn't going for that again, and that's going to seal it. 65-58. New Mexico State with the win, advancing to 5-5 on the season, 2-4 in WAC play. Seattle will be 9-8 on the year, 2-3 in conference play. Next up for New Mexico State is a 2-game home series, a semi-home series against Utah Valley Friday and Saturday at Eastwood High School in El Paso, Texas. 7 p.m. start time for both of those games. Let's go ahead and take a look at these stats. Let's check these out here. Final stats, 19 points, which is a game high for Jabari Rice to go along with 6 rebounds. Johnny McCants returning to the starting lineup, putting up 16 points and 5 boards. Also drew 7 fouls, so really good job of initiating contact. And Clayton Henry, 10 and 10. 10 points, 10 boards to go along with an assist for good measure. New Mexico State shot 21 for 57 from the floor, 36.8%, 12 for 32 from deep, 37.5%, and 11 for 17 from the charity stripe, 64.7%. Not the best shooting for the Aggies by any means. As you see the splits right there that I'm reading off. But the rebounding, as you can see right there, 45-24. That's the big one. And just their defense, their work on Seattle really made up for their shooting struggles. Seattle, the leading scorer was Riley Grigsby, 17 points, 5 boards, 5 for 13 shooting. And then Darion Trammell, even though it was 4 for 16 shooting, still put up 16 points in addition to 6 assists, but also, 3 assists, but also 6 turnovers for him. Seattle shot 17 for 50 from the floor, that's 34%, 8 for 29 from deep, which is 27.6%, and 16 for 21 from the free throw line, 76.2%. Had to live off that free throw, off that charity stripe. Aggies did a good job of contesting all of these looks. Let's go ahead and take a look at these quotes from Coach Jans, and then we will get out of here, folks. We pull this up, our article on lcsunnews.com. And if you want to see the full press conference, you guys can check that out here on our YouTube channel. But I do have 2 quotes here, I believe, that we can read off. This is Dan talking about the team's rebounding. He said, probably over half the time since Friday's loss, rebounding was what we talked about. When you choose as a head coach what your program is going to be about, rebounding is one of them for us. And when you're not very good at it, it's hard to win. Tonight we're happy for the guys who turned it around and had the upper hand in that particular battle. This is Jans talking about the game plan for guarding Trammell. He said, he was the main focus for us in both games. Our point of attack and the guy guarding the basketball or the ball screen situation was better. But more importantly, the guys away from the ball were more engaged. And that definitely was the case. You saw a play down the stretch of this one that we mentioned where Clayton Henry came in and provided some really good help defense as Trammell drove to the rim. Kalen Williams did a really good job providing help defense a lot of times. The Aggies did a really good job of about as good of a job as you can against a guy like Trammell, I should say, because you didn't shut him down, but I would definitely say you made it difficult for him, and that's about the best you can hope for the leading scorer in points per game in the WAC. But I think that's going to do it for us here, folks. I don't really have anything to really plug. Straight Shooter coming out tomorrow, 5 p.m. Mountain Time. Here on our YouTube channel, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, you guys know everything by now, pretty much everywhere. Except for Spotify, still trying to get it on Spotify. Sun News Spotlight, our weekly written series on lcsunnews.com, will be out tomorrow as well, probably at around noon. And that one is going to be on Donnie Tillman. Actually, you know what? Let's make it on Clayton Henry because I think I want to do it on the guys who have like the best outings as of late. And so I think we're going to make this one on Clayton Henry. So that'll be a written series you guys can check out tomorrow at noon. That's about all that I have to plug, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into this live stream. Make sure to follow my live coverage of New Mexico State and Utah Valley this weekend. And then tune in on Monday and Tuesday next week as we rewatch those games against the Wolverines. That's going to do it from here today, folks. This has been Justin Martinez, a.k.a. Jada Sports Dude. I'm out.